Scheduled their meetings at 10 o'clock, 11 o'clock, thinking they would dissuade me from coming, and was surprised that I still turned up. When we got to a place called Nima, and got into Nima, not Nima, sorry, Boku, we got there, the gang leader, we got inside, and he says to my driver, stay in the car, because should you get out of the car, by the time you turn around, you will not have a windshield, you will not have tires, you will not have anything. We're leaving these people to help you. And I turned to him, I said, you better stay in the car because I don't intend to walk back into Accra. So we go into the, way deep into the ghetto and get in there, and these young people are holding the meeting. They've cut off a part of a house, catty corner, their lights on, and there's a bench, and they're sitting on the bench. They give me an interpreter because they only speak Hausa and Twi in the gangs. They don't speak English. So I get the interpreter, and these guys are sitting up there. Then I see people going to them, and the oldest of them isn't even 30 years old. The oldest. So I see them sitting there, and people are going up to them and saying things, and I see some of them getting very agitated. So I turned to the interpreter, I said, what did they say to him for him to get so agitated? He said, well, they knocked off a lorry this afternoon. And look at the time, it's nearly 11 o'clock, they're just coming to tell him about it. So when is he going to dismantle that lorry and sell the parts at this time of the night? So I said, oh, then the next one, I said, what's happening with him? He said, oh, somebody were talking about them and they cut out his tongue. And they came to let him know the job is done. I said, all right. And another one came, and I went to ask. He said, he turns to me, he said, Counselor, don't ask me anymore, because the next thing they will cut off my head. So, but just to say, but nonetheless, when you sit with these young people and you talk with them, and you start talking about peace, and you start talking about the fact that the violence will be in their community. It's not going to be somewhere else. No, no, no. It's going to come to your community. And is it worth it for $5 or $10? You now have a certain amount of peace you need to sustain and build on it. Are you now going to go back to violence? And when you do that, do you know what this means to you? Your entire life is going to be disrupted.
Are you giving the $5 instead? Or?
No, no, no. We don't give them any money. We promise them nothing. No. And they do exactly what we ask. I will tell you, in Ghana, the day came when Charlotte Osei, who is the head of the National Elections Commission, announced that she was counting the ballots instead of computerizing the computerized count, because computers had gone down. So immediately all around Ghana, everybody, all the political parties started to agitate and say, oh, she's trying to cheat. That's why she's doing it, blah, blah, blah. So I had the gang leaders in my gang room. I formulated a gang room in a hotel. I had my gang summit, and then I formulated a gang room. So I had the gang leaders in there. All of a sudden, I could just hear telephones ringing, going off the hook. And I'm like, okay. So they finally called me in the room, and I got in the room. I said, yes. They said, Counselor, I want you to know the politicians are calling us, so we're going to our respective ghettos. I said, yes, and what are you going to do? They said, we are going to maintain the peace. Not one of us is going to get on the streets. And exactly what they did. President Mahama couldn't believe it. As a matter of fact, he was with me recently in Sierra Leone. None of them could believe it. President Mbeki of South Africa came in the room. He said, Counselor, we've never seen this before. What, you are controlling the gangs? I say, yes, they're my children and we'll control them. Because when you, the politicians, go ahead and incite them into violence, it's we, the women, that have to take care of the carnage. We have to take care of the mess.